Is it just me, but have you noticed that over the past few years, everywhere you look, there's been this big push towards being your own boss, being a millionaire, being financially free. It's everywhere. You scroll through Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, there's reel after reel, post after post about why being an entrepreneur is the greatest achievement you could ever have. All you see is luxury holidays, designer clothes, exclusive parties, rooftops, pools, and beaches. But is that actually the full story? Every successful entrepreneur knows that there's a dark side to the game. They all know the price that they've had to pay, they just don't tell you about it. As many aspiring entrepreneurs don't make it all the way, they get sucked down into the entrepreneur vortex, never to be seen again. Are you an aspiring entrepreneur? The harsh truth is that entrepreneurship isn't for everyone, but how do you know it's for you? Keep listening and let's find out. So right now, we're constantly surrounded on social media and in popular culture with extreme examples of success, usually of some entrepreneur or business tycoon. Now don't get me wrong, I love business. There's nothing else I'd rather be doing than spending my time building a business that massively impacts the customers that I work for and the people I work with. I love seeing other people do that too, and I love seeing people win. And I've learned over the past 7 years of being in business how amazing the highs can be, but also how intense those lows can be. Even though yes, everyone's experience in life and business will be different, I've noticed that some of the hard truths of entrepreneur life, you just don't see them. Because of this, so many people fall into that pressure, trying to keep up with what they're seeing on social media, making decisions they wouldn't naturally be making because of what they're being shown as success. And the biggest source that is something I like to call the 3 fallacies of the entrepreneurship vortex. So we're really gonna have to break this one down. Let me start by describing the entrepreneurship vortex to you. You log onto social media. You start watching and liking motivational videos about mindset and success. You watch more and more of them, and there's image of luxury items and hotels in the background. Next, you start seeing more and more entrepreneurs showing you their lifestyle. And then you start seeing videos of them telling you how easy it is for them to make money in their sleep. Then they start telling you that this is what freedom looks like and that you should be there too. You start comparing your normal life with what you're seeing and thinking that your life's not good enough. Then you finally start thinking, this is the only way to succeed. So I've just got to be an entrepreneur. But what you don't see throughout this vortex is everything going on behind the scenes. You don't see the rest of their lives not on film. You don't see the years leading up to these moments. You don't see the disasters that they've had to deal with, the madnesses. You don't see any of that. And at the end, you get dragged straight down into that vortex, but you need to understand why the vortex is bad. So now I've explained how the vortex works. I want you to understand the 3 fallacies of entrepreneurship vortex. These are the false notions that get people stuck and spiraling. The 3 fallacies are: number 1, that everyone can be and should be entrepreneurs. You always hear the idea being pushed on social media by entrepreneurs, business coaches, and influencers that everyone can be, and some even say should be, a business owner. How many times do you hear you need to be financially free? Take back your time. Get out the rat race. If you're in a job, J-O-B, just over broke, you're not winning. As if anything other than starting a business is a prison sentence. All you see about business is fun, enjoyment, and the end result. All entrepreneurs are millionaires. But is this right? And is this true? Many of these people make money off selling you a dream. It's not that these things aren't good and that you can't achieve them. Of course you can. We just need a bit more perspective. What they might not be mentioning are the levels of responsibility and accountability, pressure required to be an entrepreneur. People thinking of going down this road don't always consider the fact that there's no boss, which sounds good at first, but what happens when something goes wrong? Something's not working. Someone else does something wrong. Who's gonna sort it out? The answer is you. It's always you. You're the boss. Your customers are relying on you. Your partners are relying on you. And more importantly, your team and even your families are relying on you. That's the level of pressure not everyone will want. So think carefully before signing up. To add to this, even recognizing the simple fact that hard times will come, there's always a time where things will somehow go wrong or not according to the plan. There's always a problem to be solved. Would you be able to handle it? Also, Not everyone has the traits or are even willing to develop the traits that someone that can run a business, let alone a successful one. And these traits are really the key to becoming a successful entrepreneur. So we're gonna go over this much more detail later on in this video, so stay with me. How about the fact that you just might not want to be in business, but all this content is trying to convince you that you do, or that you should want to? Whereas the truth is that you just might be happier going down a different path in life, or just have other priorities. And if we're talking about whether you can or should go into business, listen. If you don't care about the customers that you serve or the problems that you're solving, don't do it. Don't go into business. How many rubbish businesses are out there doing a bad job, couldn't care less about their customers, and we're out here having to put up with these rubbish businesses, and people suffer to find out that you actually hate the thing that you do or don't care about it? It's not good. Don't be one of those people. Fallacy number 2 is that being a successful entrepreneur is easy to achieve. People don't anticipate the rate and the amount of failure you have to face when becoming an entrepreneur. There has to be a level of being okay with failure, because this is how you're gonna find the right formula to make your business bang. To find the right product market fit, to figure out the right marketing, the sales funnel, the customer journey, to get the whole process just right. Your whole school life up until now, you've been trained to see mistakes as bad, to see wrong answers as failure, instead of the way to get you to the right answer. As entrepreneurs, you have to be willing to get it wrong to then get it right. Every mistake is a clue to finding the right way, but you have to see it as that. If you struggle with failure, the process is going to be tough on you. The next reason that being an entrepreneur might not be as easy as they make it seem is that you might not be ready to sacrifice. Getting to the level of success you want will probably require a level of sacrifice you might have never considered before. Sacrifice in your time, in your finances, relationships, friendships, with your emotions. Sometimes it can really cost you a lot. Even when everything's just going smoothly, everything's moving nicely, all of a sudden, bang, reality slaps you in the face and you have to make another sacrifice. The business keeps asking more and more of you, and you think to yourself, is this what I signed up for? Success in entrepreneurship also isn't easy if you can't find a way to tap into a level of uniqueness or creativity to stand out. You see someone running a certain type of business and it's successful, and you just think, right, I'm doing that. You go ahead and start the exact same business. You might give it a different name, but really, it's just the same business. You have a skill in something and you jump straight into making a business. You don't really know how it's different from anyone else doing the same thing, but you haven't really thought about that. You're just making another bog standard business that's gonna fade into the background. I'm sure you've heard the stats that 20% of business fail in their first 12 months and 50% fail in their first 5 years. And that's just the ones that close, not even the ones still open and making no money. Unless you're starting the only corner shop on the street, the reality is that unless you know clearly how you're different from everyone else in the space, the chances of success are low. And part of this fallacy about why entrepreneurship being easy isn't true is because of the constant link being shown between starting a business and extreme wealth. The word millionaire gets thrown around a lot, but majority of the time, it's harder than you think to achieve what you truly want. Everyone wants to be a millionaire, but the stats say that out of 5.5 million businesses in the UK, only 4 to 5% have a yearly revenue of over £1 million. And that revenue is not even profit. Out of 33 million businesses in the US, the stats are similar at 6 to 7%. The truth is that the large majority of businesses don't even get anywhere close to $1 million in revenue in a year. Now, it's not looking as easy as it was before. What you might also not hear much about on social media is the average age of a millionaire in developed economies is 55 to 60 year olds. 55 to 60. So even the expectation that the average 20 or 30 something is going to be swimming in money doesn't really line up with reality, does it? But to give this one balance, 60% of self-made millionaires are business owners. So if you want to be a self-made millionaire, your best bet is still to go into business, unless you've got a fat inheritance or you're already a big-time investor. But entrepreneurship can be a tricky road. You're looking to be in the 4 to 7% range of business owners to reach that millionaire status. Money usually lines up with the impact you're making, so you're gonna need to make sure you're making a big impact. But again, don't worry, I've got you. We're gonna get into this one a bit later. The third fallacy is that life is always better after becoming an entrepreneur. You don't usually hear people talking about the fact that entrepreneurship often comes with high stress, uncertainty, long hours. Studies have shown a large number of entrepreneurs actually experience depression and other mental health challenges. A US study found that 30% of entrepreneurs reported dealing with depression compared to 15% in general population. Some surveys suggest the number could even be as high as 40 to 50%. That's on top of reports of isolation, financial pressure, fear of failure, anxiety, substance abuse. The list goes on and on. And if we want to get really real, a common problem for entrepreneurs are money disputes with family. A survey found that 47% of entrepreneurs reported experiencing financial conflicts with family. This usually stems from tensions over financial priorities, borrowing money from or lending money to relatives, different views on risk or business investment. There's reasons why Biggie said, more money, more problems. If you really want the lifestyle, understand what you're getting yourself into. We also mentioned the levels of responsibility, accountability, and pressure as part of the first fallacy, but it's also very relevant here. If you're someone who doesn't respond well to pressure or struggle to regulate your own emotions, the entrepreneur life might not be enjoyable for you. The bigger you get, the more pressure you're under. You can't just throw your hands up and say, I can't handle this. Give it to someone else. You need to be willing to learn how to deal with it. If you already feel trapped by hearing this isn't going to make you feel like your life's better. Until you run into certain challenges on the entrepreneurial journey, you'll have no idea they were coming. Things that would knock you left, court battles, cash flow issues, conflict with people. You'll never know the extent of the challenges until they come. So you have to be constantly ready to face new hardships you've never considered to face before. For some people, the price of dealing with all this is too high, too much to pay, even if you achieve the goal. And to round off and mention, some people see entrepreneurship success as the answer to all their problems. If I start a successful business, my life will just automatically become better. And yes, when you achieve a certain level of success, there are some things that money can address, but there are some things and certain problems that money can't take away. And unless you actually deal with these issues, you'll stay with them. They were there before and they'll be there after, unless you truly face them. So hopefully you know there are many upsides to entrepreneurship. The experience will challenge you, stretch you, and build you as a person in ways you've never ever experienced. The main reason for highlighting the fallacies of the vortex is to balance the conversation and give more context that we don't usually hear spoken about. So now that we've had a look at the dark side of business ownership, there's a choice to be made. You know all the good reasons to be an entrepreneur. You see it all over social media. Freedom, choice, luxury. But now we've balanced the conversation by telling you some of the stats of the reality and the price that you might need to pay. The fact that it's more likely to be older as a wealthy person, and that only 47% of businesses even make it anywhere near £1 million status for you to even be a millionaire. The question is, are you willing to pay the price? Are you ready to walk down the road? Actually have a think about it. And if your answer is yes, let's get into it. So you need to make sure that the journey is going to be worthwhile. All the blood, sweat and tears you're going to be putting in, is it worth the price? So how are we going to be part of that 4 to 7% that actually achieve £1 million status? Well, this is what we're going to tackle right now. So as we know, people start businesses for many reasons. But as we also know, one of the main reasons is because they want to be rich. They want the money. They want big money. But these same people often forget about the transformation they need to make to then make the desire a reality. They forget that there's a price to pay to make your dreams come true. Sometimes when people have developed a skill, they think it automatically means they are able to create a successful business. But so much more goes into it, and they overlook the key skill sets they need to make or break a business. I'm not about to let you guys make the same mistake. So let's get into the 5 traits you need to develop to transform yourself and smash it in business. The first trait is you need to become the ultimate problem solver. When you set up a business, you're now in the game of solving problems for a living. Your business is one big problem solving exercise. Your customers have a problem, you solve them with your solution, and you get paid. Solving problems make you money. So breaking it down even more, along the journey, you are going to face problems. And not just one or two, they're going to keep coming. Your process doesn't work properly. Your customers are complaining. Someone drags you off to court. A contractor runs off with your money. It could be anything and everything. Sometimes more, sometimes less. But either way, you can bet on the fact that problems are gonna come. And there's no one else to look to when the problem pops up. You're the leader. So you're going to need to find a way forward. The quicker you accept the problems are part of the process and shift your mindset to see problem solving as a normal part of the journey, the better. This way, you'll be ready for anything and you're going to be mentally ready to enjoy the process. If you're not firefighting unexpected problems, then you're fighting to grow. So both ways involve problem solving. The next trait is you need to become the calmest under pressure. Now, this journey isn't for the faint-hearted. There's both good and bad times in business, and there will be situations that require you to be level-headed and make decisions under pressure. And that pressure can come from the tightest deadline, a tough financial choice, closing a big deal, or a specific decision that could make or break your company. Many people struggle with this and crack under pressure, and that looks like panic, overthinking, and talking yourself out of opportunities, and even not taking the action at all. And this can't be you. We can't hit that 4 to 7% if we can't handle pressure. The third trait you need is to become a confident decision maker. At every step of the way, you're going to be required to make decisions. Small things that have little impact, all the way to big decisions that can change everything. So many times you can be worried about making a decision because you're worried about the outcome. You want to hit first time instead of just making the decision and following through. Being willing for it to be wrong, and if it wasn't the right decision, you just make another one to get closer to your goal. These days, you see less and less people willing to make big decisions because making decisions means taking responsibility for the outcome no matter what. And sometimes we can just be too afraid of that pressure. The fourth trait needed is to become the best student. Now, let me tell you a little secret. As an entrepreneur, your actual job is being a student. That's your real job. Many people think it's just bossing people around, but actually it's being a student. Learning needs to be your priority. It needs to be your bread and butter. The entrepreneur is the ultimate generalist. So the only way you're going to pick up the knowledge and skills in the key areas of business, in sales, in marketing, in processes, and all the rest is to become the greatest student. You're also the driver of your business. So everything you learn will drive the direction of your overall business. And the better you get, the better the team gets. This also connects to being a problem solver. The more things you learn, the more you know, which helps you to be a more effective problem solver. Your business could double if you learn one thing from a conference, meeting, or mentor. Learning has the power to transform everything. And lastly, number 5, being honest with yourself and others. And this one is the linchpin to all the others. You have to be honest about what is and isn't working. You can't be out here flogging a dead horse. Always be ready to read the writing on the wall. Is this actually working? Is what you're doing actually the right way to go? This is the only way you're going to find the right path. It starts with being honest with yourself. You also need to be honest with other people and have integrity. This is directly linked to your intention, which should always be good. You can't ever find yourself scamming, robbing, deceiving people. You might have heard before, your reputation precedes you. If you're trying to go all the way and get to that 4 to 7% mark, make your reputation pave the way forward rather than being the stumbling block to you getting there. So those are the 5 traits, guys. And all these things lead to one place, becoming a true leader. Whether you're a one-man band or you have 10 people in your team, you need to push to be a true leader. The 5 traits we've just covered are exactly how you're going to start your journey to become a great leader. And there's many more things you're going to need to master along the way, but these are going to get you going. And to really touch on leadership for a second, I just want to remind you that it's not about having a big team that you tell them what to do. It's about leading yourself first. This can be the hardest thing to do what you say you're going to do, to be brave enough to go first and go hard, to face the rejection and the failures and keep going. This is what will inspire you and people around you to keep going. This requires courage and fighting against the desire to be comfortable. As we said before, you're the driver of your business. So make sure you're leading the way. So guys, are your eyes open? Do you see the truth? Instagram's great. We love seeing people live their dream. Living the life on social media is motivating. Just remember though, what you're seeing are only snapshots in time. You are watching content, not real life. You're not seeing the whole life they're living and what's really going on in their life as entrepreneurs. They've made entrepreneurship sound simple and easy. And yes, we have more millionaires than ever before. And yes, the opportunity in this day and age is endless, but it's more about the person you need to become to be successful than it is about the results and the benefits that come with it. And in the UK, where I am, over 890,000 companies were incorporated by the end of the last financial year. That's an 11.2% increase from the year before. So guys, it's working. Every year, more and more businesses are being started. The only question is, do all of these new directors understand the journey in front of them? To be an entrepreneur, you've got to be down for the process, not just down for the rewards. So we've seen both sides. It's time for you to choose.